Romans chapter 8, verse 14. The Bible says, "For as many as are led by the Spirit of God, they are the sons of God." In the time of slave trade, there was a time when certain black people were taken from the land of Africa. They just came in big ships, and then they gathered many of them randomly, and they took them, put them in the ships, and they sent them to different plantations. They had changed their continent. They were moved from the lovely continent, which was Africa. They were moved away from their mamas. They were moved away from their papas. They had no grandfathers. Others were ripped away from their babies. But they were being taken to another land. And in that land, they were going to become slaves. And they were being used. They were being whipped in the plantations. They were being sold everywhere. They were being harassed in those plantations. But there came a time when some other white people came to buy these slaves. And when they were buying these slaves, there came another buyer, and he picked one slave that had his chest out. He was quite different. You could actually notice that this one is different from other slaves that were in the plantation, because other slaves, they were sorrowful. Other slaves, they were complaining. But this one had his chest out. And the man who came and said, "I want to buy this slave." And the owner said, "This one is not for sale." And he says, "Why? I can buy any slave." He said, No. This one is not for sale." He asked him, "Is he the boss of all of them?" He said, "No, he's not the boss." "Do you feed him differently?" He said, "No, they eat in the same plate." "Do you give him better clothes or take care of him?" He said, "No." "So why is he not for sale?" He said, "I had that same question a long time ago when I saw him. But then I realized after my research that back in Africa, this young boy with a chest out, he is a son of a king. So even if he is away from Africa, here in America, he still behaves like a son of a king." So geographical location is not changing his state. Circumstances are not affecting who he is. His surroundings, situations are not affecting who he is. So even you as a Christian, whether you change locations from one continent to another continent, from one country to another country, you still remain a son and a daughter of God. It reminds me of a story of a prodigal son. The Bible doesn't say prodigal, it says prodigal son. In other words, he was still a son, though he was in a prodigal condition, but still he remained a son. So the story of this black slave, when he was away from Africa, he still behaved like a son of a king. Even Christians, when they are here on earth, you came from God and you go back to God. You are a daughter and a son of a king. So you must behave like a daughter and the son of a king, wherever you are, despite the conditions that are surrounding you, despite the continent where you are still a son. They that are led by the Spirit of God, they are the sons of God.